For 63 years, the interstellar coalition had been bleeding. 63 years of retreat. 63 years of burning fleets and scorched planets. 63 years of alien worlds crumbling beneath the iron heel of the Varec Dominion, a warrior civilization so ancient, so precisely engineered for conquest, that most species had simply stopped fighting back. Most species. Not the humans. Humanity had been watching. Calculating. Waiting. And now, finally, they had arrived. Part 1, The Silence Before Thunder. Commander Zyrex Thorn stood on the bridge of the Undying Fong, the flagship of the Varec Dominion's 9th Conquest Fleet, and felt something he had not felt in 4 decades of war. Unease. The battle for Sector KL-7 was supposed to be simple. The coalition remnants were broken, their defenses shattered, their morale a dead thing. 3 more planetary systems and the war would be over. The Dominion would rule 40% of the known galaxy. Then the readings changed. "Commander," his sensor officer whispered, his 4 mandibles trembling. "Something is emerging from deep hyperspace." "Identify." A long pause. Then, "We cannot classify them. The signature matches no known species in our database." Zyrex moved to the tactical display. The shapes appearing on screen were unlike anything in Varec records: angular, aggressive warships built with an almost irrational density of weapons systems. Hundreds of them. Then thousands. "Open a channel," Zyrex ordered, his voice steady even as his secondary heart began to pound. The screen flickered. A face appeared, sharp-eyed, square-jawed, wearing a uniform of deep navy blue. The being had only 2 eyes, only 2 arms, only 1 heart, as far as Zyrex's biology scans could determine. Completely unremarkable in biological terms. The eyes, however, were anything but unremarkable. "This is Admiral Ethan Cross," the human said, his voice calm as deep space, commanding the United Earth Expeditionary Armada. "You have 30 seconds to begin withdrawing from Coalition territory." Zyrex stared at this small, soft-bodied creature and felt the unease sharpen into something very close to contempt. "You are one species," Zyrex replied. "You have no seat on the Coalition Council. You have no treaty obligations. Why are you here?" Ethan Cross tilted his head slightly. The ghost of a smile crossed his face. "Because," he said quietly, "you hurt our friends." The channel closed. Zyrex turned to his fleet admiral. "Destroy them." Part 2, Hour 1, Contact. 6 o'clock Standard Coalition Time. The Varec opened with their signature assault, a coordinated volley of plasma lances, the same tactic that had annihilated the Taurati Armada, the Krellian defense grid, and 17 other military forces across 6 decades. The human ships didn't scatter. They accelerated. "What are they doing?" Zyrex demanded, watching his tactical display with widening eyes. Normal species fled plasma lances. They evaded. They dispersed. Basic survival instinct. The human fleet was charging directly through the barrage. Their shields, some kind of rotating frequency deflector system Varec engineers had never encountered, absorbed the first 3 volleys. The ships that took direct hits didn't explode. They vented the energy sideways through lateral discharge arrays and kept moving. Kept coming. By the time the Varec gunners recalibrated for a 4th volley, the human fleet had closed half the distance. And then the humans fired back. Not plasma lances. Not particle beams. Something else entirely: dense kinetic slugs traveling at a significant fraction of light speed, each one electromagnetically accelerated through a barrel the length of a city block. Primitive technology by Varec standards. Primitive technology that tore through Varec armor plating like it was paper. The Varec ships were built for energy weapons. Their hulls were polarized, reflective, tuned to deflect and disperse directed energy. Nobody used solid projectiles anymore. It was considered crude. Barbaric. The humans had apparently decided that barbaric worked just fine. 14 Varec destroyers were gutted in the first exchange. 14 ships that had survived 60 years of war, gone in 4 minutes. Adapt. Zyrex snapped. Reform the phalanx. Push them back. But something else was already happening. Something that made Zyrex's blood run cold. The humans were talking to each other. Not through command channels. Not through formal tactical relays. They were talking through quick, sharp, sometimes even joking, across an open frequency that Varec intelligence was only now managing to decrypt. Alpha Wing, you've got 3 bogeys on your 6. Already on it. Mira, you seeing this angle? Got it. Crossfiring in 3, 2, splash. They weren't following a battle plan. They were improvising. Part 3, Hour 2, Adaptation. 7 o'clock Standard Coalition Time. Zyrex had fought the Torati, who were brilliant tacticians. He had fought the Grelborn, who were physically imposing and nearly fearless. He had fought the Sileni, whose hive-mind coordination was the closest thing to perfection he had ever encountered. None of them had done what the humans were doing now. The humans were learning in real time. Every Varec tactic was countered within minutes of its deployment. The Varec tried the convergence spiral, humans split their formation into overlapping kill zones and turned it into a trap. The Varec deployed their phase cloak flankers. The humans somehow detected the displacement wake and lit them up with what appeared to be proximity-detonated explosive warheads, another technology so old it wasn't even in Varec threat databases. Zyrex received a direct communication from Admiral Cross at the 70-minute mark. "You're adjusting your plasma frequency to punch through our shields," Cross said, without preamble. "We've noticed. We appreciate the effort. We've already adapted." "How?" Zyrex demanded, and hated himself for asking. Cross shrugged, a gesture Zyrex had learned was a human expression of casual dismissal. "We've been studying your weapon's signature since you started firing. My engineers are fast." A pause. "Also, we packed a lot of redundant systems. Humans like redundancy. We've had a complicated history with things breaking at the wrong moment." The channel closed again. Zyrex looked at his losses report. 41 ships destroyed. Hundreds damaged. In 70 minutes. In 63 years of war, no enemy had cost him 41 ships in 70 minutes. Part 4, Hour 4, Breaking Point. 10 o'clock Standard Coalition Time. The Dominion called in reinforcements. 3 reserve fleets, held back for the final planetary assault, were redirected to Sector KL-7. Admiral Ethan Cross had apparently anticipated this. He had not brought only 1 armada. He had brought 3. The second and third human fleets emerged from hyperspace at precise flanking positions that suggested the humans had wargamed this exact reinforcement scenario and planned accordingly. The fresh Varec reserves flew directly into pre-established kill boxes and were methodically dismantled. What broke Zyrex, what cracked something fundamental in his understanding of warfare, was not the military precision. It was the communication he intercepted between 2 human pilots during the chaos. "Kel, you're showing damage on your port thruster." I know, she's still flying though." "You sure you're good?" "Brother, I'm always good." "Cover my left." "Always." "Go." They were afraid. They were damaged. They were in the middle of the most dangerous battle Zyrex had ever witnessed. And they were taking care of each other. That was when Zyrex understood something the Varec had never accounted for in all their centuries of conquest. Humans did not fight to win. Humans fought for each other. Winning was simply what happened as a result. Part 5, Hour 5, Silence. 11 o'clock Standard Coalition Time. The Undying Fong received the broadcast on all frequencies simultaneously. This is Admiral Ethan Cross of the United Earth Expeditionary Armada. The engagement in Sector KL-7 is concluded. Varric Dominion forces, you are surrounded. Your communications to Home Command are being suppressed. Your hyperspace lanes are blocked. Zyrex looked at his tactical display. It was true. All of it. You have a choice, Cross continued. Lay down arms and we discuss terms. Or we finish this. I want to be honest with you, Commander Thorne, we've been honest this whole time, finishing this is not something we're afraid of. A pause. But it's not what we want either. We want this war to end. Today. We've been watching it for 63 years and we are tired of watching good people die. Zyrex sat in his command chair for a long moment. 63 years. The greatest military force in the known galaxy. And 5 hours against humanity had revealed a truth that 63 years of total domination had hidden. The Varric Dominion had never actually met a species that refused to lose. He opened the channel. Admiral Cross, Commander Zyrex Thorne said quietly. We accept terms. Epilogue, what the galaxy learned. The Coalition historians would later debate endlessly about how humanity had achieved in 5 hours what the combined Coalition military had failed to achieve in 6 decades. The military analysts pointed to technology, the railgun arrays, the adaptive shield systems, the redundant damage control networks. The tacticians pointed to flexibility, the human capacity for real-time improvisation that no rigid command structure could match. The psychologists pointed to something harder to quantify. They called it unit cohesion. They wrote papers about it. They struggled to explain it to species whose soldiers followed orders and nothing more. Admiral Ethan Cross, when asked by a Coalition journalist what humanity's secret weapon had been, thought about it for a moment. Then he smiled. We showed up, he said simply. And we showed up together. The journalist waited for more. Cross shook his head. That's it. That's the whole answer. When humans decide that something matters, really matters, we don't calculate the odds. We don't measure the risk. He looked out the viewport at the stars. We just make sure nobody fights alone. Somewhere in the galaxy, 63 years of war had ended in 5 hours. And the universe quietly updated its understanding of the most dangerous words in any language. Humanity has entered the conflict.